Hello everybody, today we will have a look at two of the highest performing modern gentleman knives on the market. What am I talking about? Well, here is the Spyderco C22 Walker in a new fabrication run, and this is the Sailor from Klötzli. Now these knives have a few things in common and the most obvious thing that they have in common is that they are both designed and properly acknowledged as being designed by Mr. Walker, one of the most famous knife designers of our times, you could say. He's also the inventor of the liner lock, one of the most popular locks in pocket knives these days, and these both knives have this liner lock. The liner, the inside of the knife, where a piece actually will stop the blade from turning back. He actually perfected that design because a crude version of it was already available in old knives actually. So Mr. Walker makes typically very elegant designs in my opinion, and both Spyderco and Spyderco has made this one already in the early days already of Spyderco, and what was interesting, it was made by the Swiss maker Klötzli, who is indeed the company making here this Sailor knife of Mr. Walker, that I will also discuss. So that's quite, so there is really more than a bit of a similarity there. First here a closer look at the Spyderco. This is really one of the strongest gentleman knives actually you can buy these days, but you have to hurry because it's a sprint run, only a few hundred are made. What is particular about it, it's only 55 grams heavy, so that's quite good. It has a blade of, well, the cutting edge is around 6.5 centimeter. Roughly speaking. By the way, this little this I have to say something here. This little measuring ruler, actually the precision ruler, I got it as a gift from Andrew from Australia, who watched my videos and who seems to be pretty happy with my reviews, and he gave me this little precision ruler as a gift. I'm very charmed with that, so thank you a lot, Andrew. So I go back to the knife. It uses ZDP steel, ZDP 189 steel, which is the highest performing Japanese steel on the market. It's one of the new generation of powder steel knives, powder steel blades, which are very hard, Rockwell in the 60s, but you have to watch out that you keep it sharp, or it's a big effort to sharpen it again. And they are stainless, but not 100%, you could say, because I mean, if you would cut lemons and so with it, they could get a slight bit of patina. It's typical with ZDP, but it's very high performing. So what else? So carbon fiber is also typical for Mr. Walker, that he uses carbon fiber scales, a titanium liner at one side only, which is also the lock, and it works of course very smoothly. It has a lanyard hole, which some people like for small knives, so that they have something more to hold on to. The clip, you can only it's only here, you cannot move it around, so it is a tip up carry knife. I must say that to my taste the tip is actually too much towards the middle of the knife. I'd hope it to be more at the edge, because it's quite a bit, look at this, it's quite a bit sticking out actually. I don't like that so much. But otherwise really high performing, thanks to only 2 mm thick blade, or 2 and a bit perhaps, which make it actually terrifyingly sharp, and because it's so thin, it's easy to slice. It's a hollow ground. The ZDP steel already betrayed, you could say, that it was made in Seki City, which it says indeed here, Seki City, the cutlery city of Japan. There's a bit of jimping here, which is okay, that way you can keep the blade quite close without being afraid that your finger will slip on the blade. And it also has, you see these little cutouts near the tip. That's typical for many Walker designs. Have that. Look here at the other one. It also has this design feature. So really, yeah, a reissue of a classic. The old one didn't have this high-end steel, and it had blue screws, which I think actually were probably, and also the pivot screw was also blue, which probably looked even a bit better. But I think this is pretty nice actually, and non-threatening at all. Let's have a quick look now at the Sailor. So actually, in one of my first videos I already discussed another Sailor. This is actually one of the very few knives I have more than one of. So here actually is the other one that I already discussed with an etched metal handle. And yeah, it has all the Klötzli qualities actually, being extremely high precision. That is typical for this small Swiss company. They do everything up to a truly high standard. I always think that Klötzli is the equal of Chris Reeve knives, but their approach to knife is a bit more gentlemanly, but hard use enough. The only thing I didn't like about this older one is that the inside liners, the inside here of the liners were a bit sharp actually to the touch, which was a bit annoying. So here now there's this new one. It's extra light. It's only 50 grams, meaning it's 5 grams lighter than the other one. It has a nicely textured G10, which is totally protect totally your hand from slipping away. So you have a really good grip with that. A 3mm thick blade, so a bit thicker than the other one, also hollow ground, a bit longer blade actually, so it's around the cutting edge around a bit more than 7 cm and roughly 3 inches from the top to the beginning of the handle. It has this typical kind sheepfoot like form, which is popular for in the past and still now for indeed here in this case is called a sailor. Indeed, for sailors, when they would drop this knife, it wouldn't pierce their foot because it doesn't have a real piercing tip, which I mean many people will appreciate. I also actually, what I like with this kind of really this kind of sheepfoot blade is I like that it gives a very nice precision when you would cut along a line in cardboard or paper. That goes very well with that. It doesn't have jimping here, but the particular form here actually naturally actually your first finger would be here, so where actually you can easily put the liner lock back again, but so your hand won't slip on the blade. So it's a bit lighter, like I mentioned, roughly 9mm thick, while the handle by the Spyderco was roughly 8mm thick. For how to choose between both of them, really it's a matter of taste. I think both of them are tremendously well made. I have personally preference for the Klötzli. I think it feels even better in the hand, even more a precision thing than the Klötzli, which is saying, than the Spyderco, I think, which is saying something. It's also extremely smooth to open. The liner lock fits perfectly in place. They do that magically well, actually. It also comes, this Klötzli comes typically with a small leather pouch, which is a bit amusing because it has a clip. So in theory, well, typically it would be worn with a clip, but if you would take the clip out, you still have this very smooth leather pocket here. I don't like the clip that much either, to be honest, and it also, the blade, the handle also sticks out still a bit. Otherwise, I would say in practical terms there's not really much to differentiate. Yes, it's true that the blade here of the Klötzli is, well, a bit longer, you could say a centimeter, but in practice it doesn't make so much difference. It all depends on what you feel best, and well, for me the Klötzli is even better in that respect. It's very friendly looking. I think it's well, it's an utility knife, and you feel the precision incredibly well. The Spyderco has that of course as well, but it's some very difficult to find way the Klötzli feels even more precise. Let's close them to see how they look here closed side by side, so you have an idea. Yeah, clean knives actually from two of the best production companies. I will summarize here. I hope you found this interesting. well, you know from my other reviews that I like this kind of good gentleman knives, and two of my favorite companies actually, so it's fun to compare them. Spyderco, already 20 years in the running, you could say. No, 30 years actually, that they're busy, and now here they rediscover one of their classics. Typical of this older design is that the cutout here for your finger and to get at the lock is bigger than what they do with more modern knives or even Walker designs like here the Sailor, so that you see that there is some evolution. And then Klötzli, superb high precision company from Switzerland, totally unlike the Swiss Army knives. And but they should actually be known more, actually, the Klötzlis. I know that they are a bit lesser known, I have the impression, less talked about, but they are definitely worth your consideration. So feel free to leave feedback.